Welcome to this yin practice. Please make sure that you have props with you, a couple of blocks, a strap perhaps, a bolster or a cushion. Let's begin standing. Please find a natural position for your feet and begin to check in. Take inventory of where you are, not just physically but mentally, energetically, emotionally. Begin to sense the weight of your body on the feet, and from the feet up to the legs, begin to take a scan, pelvis, the whole upper body. Have a sense of your arms and palms. Is there anything that you can perceive in your palms, the fingertips? And we will now begin to radiate through the fingertips so you can stretch them out wide. As you next inhale, begin to lift the arms all the way out and up, reaching as high as you can. Get long, get tall. As you exhale, begin to fold. You can micro bend the knees so the legs can be straight as you want, folding. As you inhale, bring the hands to the shin. See if you can lift the spine into a halfway up. And from here, begin to fold. We will stay here. Here you can either let your hands hang, or you can grab opposite elbow or upper arm. We will be here for a few minutes. Know that if this gets too hard, you can also place your sitting bones, the back of the legs and the buttocks, on a wall, and this will make the posture a little easier. And you can also place the hands on blocks or on a cushion or on anything that helps elevate your support. If you have high blood pressure and having your head down doesn't feel like a suitable posture for you, know that you can always do this posture sitting on the floor and with the legs extended in front of you, folding forward. It's also known as caterpillar in the yin world, or Paschimottanasana in the normal yang world of yoga postures. And this is a great way of decompressing the spine, of receiving all the benefits of inversions like the extra flow of blood and circulation and oxygenation to the brain. We enhance the stimulation in the urinary bladder line that runs all the way from the soles of the feet, from the plantar fascia, all the way up to the crown of the head and the forehead even. It's all one continuum. And it's said that when there is any pain in the body, it's normally all fascia related. So it's in this incredible webbing inside our body that many of the answers to healing pain lie. Your over halfway there. We only have around a minute left here. Slowly begin to bend the knees. Toe heel the feet out if you need. We will move towards a sitting position on a squat. And for that, you can either place a couple of blocks underneath your sitting bones. If the heels are not down on the floor, you can place a cushion or one block underneath each heel to find support. Your fingertips can be down on the floor. You can bring the palms towards the prayer or anything else that you feel could support you. If this gets too intense for your body structure, please know that you're always fully free to come out of the posture earlier, to not take a posture and to take a similar posture. Something that is similar to this could be happy baby laying down on the floor. Even though that posture will require some muscular engagement as you grab onto the feet or the shins with the hands, you're essentially doing the same. There are many cultures around the world in which squatting is part of their daily routine. You can see people around Thailand, India, and some other Asian countries where they squat to go to the loo, to talk to friends, to smoke a cigarette. And it is said that lower back pain in those places is not as common as it is in Western countries. So when we squat, our ankles get stronger. We strengthen the joints on our feet. The lumbar spine extends. There is little to no compression in the spine. So squatting while living our daily lives is a great practice to remain mobile. And if we have lost range of motion and mobility because of lack of use, then we can begin to regain it as we do this posture more regularly. just half a minute remaining. And here you can take any counter posture or rebound of your choice. I like to walk my hands forward and to place my knees and shins on the floor and let my tops of feet touch down so that my feet receive a little break. But you can also shift forward in a tabletop or all fours, and you can let the feet do like a tantrum. For the next posture, please sit back. I like to teach with archetypes, so the archetype of this is shoelace. And shoelace is a posture in which one leg is crossed over the other and the knees are bent. And the modifications of that is to have the bottom leg extended, and then there will be a forward fold. The other options are what one of my teachers called loose shoelace, in which you're crossing one ankle in front of the other, so it's similar to Sukhasana, easy cross-legged seated position. And then you can reach the feet in opposite directions to any degree that you could tolerate. This is to be felt on the outsides of the legs, a little bit of the insides of the legs as well. So please find an option that feels suitable for you. And if none of them is bearable, then you can also do pigeon or deer. They also target the outside of at least one leg in the majority of people. Take your props if you need them, propping up the sit bones or the knees. And we begin to give a little bit of presence into the little sensations, or even the epicenter of our sensations. I find refuge in the many spiritual teachings, philosophies of many different countries, religions, and they are all very, very useful for uncertain times, challenging times. And they teach that all of these times of turmoil allow us to connect more deeply into our souls and into who we truly are in our essence. As someone once said, it is through the crack that the light enters. And it's through the darkness that we truly begin to appreciate the light, and we can indeed become a light unto ourselves. It is said that when the ego weeps for what it has lost, the spirit rejoices for what it has found. And we can all use adversities to reconnect to that part in us that at sometimes get lost in the busyness of our lives. Slowly begin to come out of the posture. You can lean back. You can take any shape or movement that you need. Around a minute or so to do as you need. And slowly begin to shift onto the other side. If you notice that this side is very different from the other side, please take a different variation. Don't feel like you have to do exactly the same. Our bodies normally are asymmetrical, and we have to take all of those little subtle differences into consideration when we make a decision that concerns our bodies. There are times when life will show us how we are given the ability to experience parts of ourselves that we were unaware of. And especially in moments when we are truly challenged, it's when we begin to uncover the incredible power, resilience, kindness, compassion that has always lied inside our hearts and in the human spirit. And it is hard to experience this aspect of ourselves when we are always moving, doing, or too busy being. And when we come to stillness, we begin to feel. We begin to see beyond our own busyness and the many ways in which we distract ourselves. So our work is to feel what we feel, whether it's sadness, whether it's fear, whether it's anger. Resisting or fighting doesn't really help because the body is producing a feeling. And when we allow these to happen, they will pass through, they would move through. And once they do, they will empower us. A feeling moves through us. We experience it. We feel it. Perhaps it will make us uncomfortable. And then it dissipates. And then we go to the next feeling. Can slowly begin to come out of the posture. Remember that you are always free to take anything you need, like a pause, stillness after you come out of that shape. Or you can go for micro movements, a little wiggle perhaps, but everything slow as your ability to be in that steadiness and still position. So please very slowly and mindfully begin to bring your body onto your front. So laying in a prone position, just like an Egyptian sphinx. The elbows will be underneath the shoulders, and this stacking of the bones helps to keep you upright with a minimum amount of muscular effort and engagement. You can choose to interlace the fingers or separate the palms wide apart with the forearms parallel to each other, and then you can send the elbows a little wider or slightly further forward. If the elbows are too far back, you will feel like you're collapsing onto your arms and you might not feel anything in the back. So we want to feel something along the lower back, perhaps a little higher. And also see if you can explore how it feels to send the legs a little wider, send them a little closer, and choose the posture that best suits how you feel. In a yin practice, when it comes to movement, less is more. But when it comes to sensations, usually more is better. You want to feel sensations, but you want those sensations to be felt in many parts at the same time. and not all of it in just one side of the body. So if you feel here only in one part and it feels too much, in that case it is not a good idea to stay there for too long. It would be best to modify. So in Sphinx you can place the elbows on a pair of blocks or roll a towel or a blanket underneath your rib cage, which helps elevate it. Sphinx is related to the spleen and stomach meridian, and the emotions connected to those energetic lines or streams are the sense of worry, self-doubt, regret, remorse. It's also connected to what they produce, like stomach problems, bloatedness. And it is said that when the spleen and stomach channel are harmonious, the ability to fight off infections is better. The body always has a little bit more to give than the mind. And yin is a perfect way to slow down, and once we do, it is an amazing opportunity to feel what's going on inside the body. And whenever you're ready, slowly begin to descend, elbows down, maybe the hands underneath the forehead. Take a minute or so to do as you wish. The next posture in the yin world is called broken wing. And this posture, I wouldn't recommend it if you had any rotator cuff injury or anything going on with the shoulder. Otherwise, bring the arms into a T shape in which you align your hands with the shoulders. The degree of the positioning of the arms will vary from person to person. So we will slide one hand underneath one shoulder. Then bend the same knee of the hand that is underneath the shoulder, and with the bent knee, begin to roll yourself onto the side of the extended leg, pressing through the hand that is underneath the shoulder, and place that foot of the bent knee right behind the opposite leg. It will take around 3 minutes here. This is a front stretch, front of the shoulder, pectoralis major, minor, and if it feels too much for you already, if you feel any numbness, one thing you can do is to back up, so sending the torso towards the floor as if you wanted to face the floor more, or slide that extended arm further downwards away from the side of the crown of the head. And it's really important here that we don't overdo anything that we do it for an amount of time that just feels right for us, and never going beyond tingliness or numbness or electrical sensations. The breath is the first thing that gets inhibited when we are doing something that is not beneficial for us. So being hyper aware of whatever happens inside your body. Should you want to take this further, the bottom knee can bend and the leg can remain on the floor. And if you want to decrease also the top leg with the knee that is facing upwards or forwards, can begin to release onto the other leg, and that takes quite a lot of the weight and the stress that we place upon the shoulder. From wherever you are, slowly begin to come out of the posture. Pause in a neutral position. And let's move on to the other side, so arms in a T shape. Slide your hand underneath your shoulder. Bend the knee of the same side and roll over to the opposite side of the one you did before. Comparing this side to the other side and aware of any differences, so that the posture can be done accordingly to those differences. Remembering that yoga is a quality with which you do anything. It's not about what you do, but how you do what you do. The arm lines are the ones connected to the lungs, the heart, the large and the small intestines. And what we seek to do is to bring harmony. Since this harmony in any of the meridian pathways, the energetic channels inside our body, are the main cause of these ease or ailments. If you ever feel you need to come out of the posture earlier, please listen to that inner guidance. And slowly begin to come out of the posture. Pause in a neutral position or find movement. But eventually start to roll onto your backs. So a supine position, laying on your back. The next posture that I invite you to do is called Banana Asana, and it is a lateral flexion, a side bend, in which you begin by keeping the pelvis right where it is at the center of your mat, and then you lean your torso over to one side of the mat. You can, let's say that you're stretching over to the right hand side, you could either grab opposite elbows as you stretch the torso to the right, or you can grab left wrist with the right hand and have a gentle pull over to the right. And then also keeping the pelvis right where it is, send the legs now also over to the same side. You might wish to cross the left leg on top of the right if you're moving to the right, or do the opposite leg. Stay with the one that allows sensations to be felt along the outside of the body, the gallbladder line. If you don't have a strap close to you, don't worry about this. But if you do, sometimes it helps to place the strap over the top foot, and then you can have a loop with the strap to place the strap around your crease of the elbow, and then the fingertips can bind, or you can choose any other variation so that the strap supports the enhancement of the sensations. But being here, it's good enough. Sensations can increase after a while, but they can also decrease. If the sensations decrease and then you don't feel anything, then you can always go a little deeper, so you can take the arms further over to the right hand side. The arms, on the other hand, are beginning to feel any sense of painfulness or anything that just doesn't feel right for you. You can always send the hands down and focus more on the lower part of the body. So being curious enough to explore what works for you in certain postures, what doesn't work for you in certain postures. And making appropriate decisions for the sake of your health and your uniqueness. Just run 3 more cycles of breath here. And then begin to come back to the center of your mat, uncrossing the legs, the torso returns, the arms return. Take a minute here. And then move over to the other side. There is a story of a king who once called upon all of his wise men and asked them, is there any mantra or suggestion which works in every situation, in every circumstance, in every place, in every time, in every joy, and also in every sorrow? Is there any mantra or suggestion to face every defeat but also every victory? Is there an answer for all of these questions? He said he needed something that can help him when none of the wise men are available to advise him. And he said, tell me, is there a mantra? And all of the wise men pondered on this question for a while. One of the wise men told him the mantra, "These too shall pass." He added, when you experience joy, remembering that these too shall pass helps you savor the here and now. When you experience pain and sorrow, remembering that these too shall pass reminds you that grief, like joy, is only temporary. And with this, we know we are just a witness of change. We experience it, and when we experience it, we begin to understand it. We might want to control the situations around us, but when we realize that they cannot be controlled, there's nothing else that we can do but fully and utterly surrender. So life will always have spontaneous changes, and the more we resist them, the more that we create added turmoil or conflict with the way things are, the more suffering we create for ourselves. And within the more acceptance that we can find in the way life functions and all of nature and all of us humans with cyclical lives, we open up to the ability to be an instrument for what needs to happen. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly begin to come out of the posture, pausing in the center for a bit. Bend the knees, place the soles of the feet on the floor. Take the arms wide apart in a T shape and simply allow the knees to drop onto one side of your body, any side. You can place a block, a cushion, or a blanket underneath the bottom knee or in between the legs. Or if you have a bolster, a long bolster, you can also roll over to the side of the bent knees and bring your torso to face down as you lay on top of the long bolster. So your head, your chest, part of your tummy will be on the bolster and your head can be to either side. So that is a little bit more of a restorative posture, but it's also targeting the spiral line, Manipura chakra, the lower dantian, or the many names that this central part of your body has. If you prefer to take any other variation, please do so. Another variation is to cross the top leg on top of the bottom leg, and that can also feel quite juicy for some and quite needed for some as well. And as much as it's necessary for you, when the sensations get really strong, when life feels overwhelming, know that this too shall pass. Last few breaths here. Coming out of the posture mindfully, taking a minute. Moving over to the other side. Remember that you don't need to take the same variation you did before if these parts of the body feels completely different to the other side. For 4 minutes. stillness within stillness. Last 5 cycles of breath. Returning back to your center line in the mat. We'll now enter the sacred space of stillness in Shavasana. You can take Shavasana in any way that you wish. You can be even laying on the side. You can be having a bolster underneath the knees. Wrap up if you need. If you spend many times of your day seated and flexing the spine or rounding the spine to work on a computer or anything that, or even watching TV, I suggest placing either a block on the flattest part underneath the sacrum area, so almost in between the hips. Or you can also, if you have a long bolster, you can place it all along the spine. So the sitting bones would be on the floor. Complete stillness. Soft through the head. Soft through all muscles of the face. The awareness weaves around the movement of breath. And trust in your own ability to surrender to this moment. Mindfully and gradually begin to come out of the posture. Remove props that you might have. And eventually the sounds begin to come back onto the witnessing presence. That in you which perceives all sounds, all scents, all feelings. Awakening through the sense of touch, feeling the outer layers of your skin, your fingers, your toes. Take a big inhale as you reawaken. Big exhale there. Please stay here for as long as you need to. Otherwise, you can stretch if you wish for the last time. And then you can roll over to the side, always moving out of awareness rather than out of habit. Mindfully sealing the practice, sitting back up, eyes closed. Palms in prayer. Bowing down to yourself and to the sacredness of this moment. Knowing that everything will pass. Namaste.